Hi, I'm Sylvia Fernandez and welcome back. It's really nice to have you again. To those of you who were with us on video one, I hope you got your cause and effect impact and went home and contemplated what you heard from the first video and how the wheel of life plays out in your life and where you maybe need to give yourself a bit more of a push and use a few more tools to get your life back on track or maybe make it even better. And to those of you who are signing in for the first time, I'd appreciate if you could press the pause button and go back to video one, because we have ordered a sequence of videos for you to benefit you most. So we'll see you at the next round. To those of you who were with us at the cause and effect first video, I'd like to take you forward now to the next step, which is actually living your life, if you are at cause or even if you're at effect, to then accelerating into living your life at purpose, on purpose. So people who are purposeful, and driven by their lives are quite different to the people who are really dragging their feet to work. Now, I'm going to talk to you about multiple intelligences today, how we have 3 intelligences and how we actually, can access all 3, even though many people say, oh, you're born with these intelligences, you either have it or you don't, but that's totally not true. We have the ability to tap into these intelligences and actually create, more behavioral flexibility from tapping deeper into some of these intelligences like IQ, emotional intelligence, EQ, and SQ, spiritual intelligence. But before we get into that tool, I'd like to share with you, my experience. Why am I doing all this? Why am I saying, that my tagline in my company is about creating effective people in organizations? How did I come up with this? As a result of being an entrepreneur for 12 years, I found in all that time of consulting and training and coaching and facilitating large groups of people in large organizations, even in small and medium, I found that people are really dragging their feet. Especially, most of the work that I do is from top down. So the people at the top, not so much, they probably, I see them quite motivated. They're kind of, really excited about what they're doing most of the time. There are, of course, the exceptions. But the people in the middle, the waste of what we call the waste, just like the waste on your body, the waste of the body of the organization, I find that's where the problems are. Most people are just sort of floundering, they're flipping and flopping around without any real purpose of what it is they want in their lives, and is there any direction? Where are they going? They have no idea. Okay, so that's why I found that this pattern and trend was occurring more and more and more through the years of consulting with companies, that I realized my main impetus and my main focus and purpose for me as a person is to go into companies and help them create effective people so that people can be more productive. And where does productivity come from? When you're excited and happy at your job, that's where it all just like a tap that is opened, and this wellspring of beautiful water just flows. Whatever is within you, your creative juices just flow. And that's what I intend to help people with, our organizations that I haven't been to. So I'd like to share with you how this all started. Apart from the organizational experience, let me just backtrack, about 6 years before that. Remember, I went through a career transition, and one of the things that I remember, I still live in Mosman in Sydney, and I was walking down a street in Mosman, and there was this little sign that said, free meditation, every Thursday night, come join us. And I thought, At that point in time, as I said to you in my first video, it was all about learning. I wanted to learn as much as I could. If I didn't know how to do something, I'd go get a course on it. If I didn't know something that someone said, I'd ask them to explain themselves. I was constantly learning and populating my mind with a whole lot of seeds of new ideas. And so I caught hold of a girlfriend, and the two of us decided we would go every Thursday night. We met this guy, Greg, who was running these programs, and didn't realize that his parents were actually the heads of a spiritual group worldwide. I had no idea until 20 years after, when I read a book and I found them in that book, and I thought, wow, that was where Greg had all his wisdom and experience. He was quite a young gentleman at the time. And Greg taught us every week, and every Thursday night, we'd sit down with a lovely group of people who just wanted more in their lives and were soul searching in a way, you know, for their identity, their true selves. He'd get us to draw stuff and paint things and write out, you know, slogans about ourselves and all types of different creative exercises. And often we would talk about, what is your life purpose? At the time, I hadn't even heard of the concept of a life purpose. I didn't even know what that meant. But as time went on, I realized that, hey, we've come to Earth for a reason. I've come to Earth for a reason, and I know I'm here to do something unique. Whatever that is, I need to find that out. You know, now, today, I know that my unique proposition is about creating effective people in companies, you know, helping people on the street as well to be more creative and more effective. But do you know your life purpose? What are you here for? You know, are you just here to wake up every morning, brush your teeth, go to work, have your breakfast, do all of the same old routine, and many years later, you know, have children, grandchildren, have a house, a car, and then die and get put into the earth or wherever you go, into the water or whatever, and that's it, that's the end of your life? You know, is that what you want for your life? You know, often say that'd be sad if you said yes, you know, and even sadder if you said, oh my God, never thought about it that way, and I don't really want to change because it's too late now. It's never too late. I know of a lady who learned about these concepts in her late 60s. She was almost 70. She was the mother of a speaker who, you know, told us the story. And after she realized all of these concepts about life purpose, she said, oh my God, you know, I've got so much power in me, so much strength. And that unleashed her. You know, she was American, and she moved into, you know, setting up community projects, and the President of the United States and the First Lady, you know, contacted her, and the rest is history. You know, my friend who was a speaker couldn't find his mother. You know, he gave her a mobile phone, he called her, where in the past she'd call him and he'd say, hi Mom, how are you? And she'd say, yeah, okay, just waiting to go. I've got nothing much happening in my life. So it was quite a huge and an opposite reaction and response. You know, he couldn't find his mother, you know, after she was unleashed. And so it's about unleashing a little bit of what is inside you, you know, that's stopping you. So that's a little bit about me and my background about meditation and how I found Greg and this whole concept of a life purpose. And so I thought, after 6 years of soul searching, I realized it was really well worth the journey. It was really, you know, if I was in the banking arena today, if I was still in my banking job, you know, I would not have met all the beautiful people I did. I wouldn't have the skills that I have today. You know, I wouldn't be able to stand on stage and speak to a group of people and impact their lives and contribute to them, even if it was a tiny little, you know, seed of thought that I could plant in their minds, which I think is really worthwhile. You know, most of us remember a wonderful teacher we had at school so many years ago. You know, what did those teachers do for us? You know, they planted beautiful seeds of thought just by a little statement about you or me, you know, and we still remember those wonderful teachers that did positive things for us. So, you know, if we are able to plant seeds in people's minds, hey, why not? Let's make an impact wherever we go, whether it's on the street or in the company. We have the ability to do that. So, all right, let's change gears now and move into this little subject of what I want to talk to you about, called multiple intelligences. You know, as human beings, we all have 3 intelligences. Our ability, IQ, our ability to come from technical information, data, it's data driven, it's fact and figures and logic. This is something we're all mostly good at, okay, because this is, our academic system is steeped in this sort of, you know, learning or teaching, I might say. The second one is emotional intelligence, and most of us don't realize that we do have EQ within us. Some of us more naturally, yes, and some of us not so naturally, but we have the ability to access it and bring it out. And the third one is SQ, our spiritual intelligence, which has nothing to do with religion. It's about your spirit, your identity, your passion. Are you coming from meaning and drive and inspiration? Are you someone who's you know, dashing out the door every day to go to work, enjoying every bit of what you do? Or are you someone who's dragging your feet to work every day? So those are the three intelligences. Most of the time, people who are very IQ, EQ driven, okay, are people who are lacking SQ, are the people who drag their feet to work, people who haven't quite found their niche in life, their life purpose, I would say. The people who are strong in IQ, SQ, technically very good IQ, all right, SQ extremely passionate about what they do, they love what they do, but not necessarily having tapped into their EQ intelligence yet. Now, people like that, remember that piece of paper, I forgot to remind you, piece of paper and pen. I hope that every video now you get yourself ready with your pen and piece of paper and write it down, IQ, EQ, SQ. In fact, we were putting up I'm sure the image has come up already. So draw it out for yourselves and look at where you sit. All right, we're talking about the IQ, SQ person, someone who's good at what they do technically, someone who loves what they do, but not necessarily having that EQ component, which is relating to people, communicating, emoting, feeling, people on this scale could be the computer programmers, IT geeks who love sitting behind a computer screen and, they can do however many hours of work. They don't really care because they love what they do and they're technically strong at it. And not all IT geeks have low EQ. I know of some who are, very high on EQ, but as a generalization, just to give you some idea of what this means. So begin to draw out where you sit, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10. If you are very strong in EQ, just give yourself an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever it is. Or if you feel that you are very low, give yourself a 2 out of 10. Same thing with IQ. And the third plane that I want to talk to you about is the EQ, SQ plane. Okay, people who are emotionally very connected and they relate well to others, they communicate beautifully, they are emotionally connected to people, and SQ, they love what they do. All right. People on this plane, believe it or not, are 4 times more successful than on the other planes. Why is that? Does that mean that IQ is not so important? No. What it means is that people who have IQ we can attract people who have IQ. Okay, so if you look at an organization and you look at the junior levels, the middle level, and the senior levels, I'm going to put an image up. So if you're looking at the junior level, okay, we're talking about people who have, who are probably very IQ savvy. They're strong technically. That's why we hire people into a company, because they have the technical skills. Then as you become a manager and you move into the middle level, you probably have a team of people, EQ becomes increasingly important. By that time, you have teams of people who are technically strong, and you have the ability to ask them or enroll them, with the knowledge, the technical knowledge that they have. So it's not as important for you to hold all that knowledge in the forefront of your mind. And the third one is SQ, people who are very spiritually driven. If we go further up the corporate ladder, you'll find that leaders generally have that quality, or I'm hoping they have that quality, because people at the top really should be inspiring and leading with passion and drive and a vision, and so that the other people through the organization are able to follow the leader. So EQ, SQ becomes increasingly important, and people like Nelson Mandela and Richard Branson and the great entrepreneurs of the world, CEOs of companies, you may know some people like that who are EQ, SQ driven, and wherever they go, others want to follow them. I know of CEOs in companies, when they leave a job, a whole bunch of people want to follow them because they love working with that person, and they are driven and passionate, and they know where they're going in terms of a direction and a vision. And so people like that, generally have a good following of people at the lower levels of the organization, whether middle or junior. So hopefully you have some kind of an idea now. I want you to calibrate yourself. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in terms of IQ, EQ, and SQ? Are you IQ driven, 10 out of 10? So you know your job really well technically? Are you EQ driven, maybe a 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, I don't know, calibrate yourself. And then SQ, where are you on that scale? So as you calibrate yourself, and as I was speaking to you about what these intelligences mean, you will probably be thinking about someone in your life, either your spouse, a best friend, your boss, your colleagues, people you work with and interact with on a very, daily basis on a very close level. And you'll probably be able to guess why you get along really, really well with some and not so with others. Maybe you are strong in EQ, but that person isn't. And so there's a clash in terms of language, in terms of what you're talking about, how you say it, okay? So there may be a clash in terms of someone who's really spiritually driven, really loving what they do, and someone who's dragging their feet, okay? So in terms of a mindset, if that clash is naturally occurring, then, there is a break in rapport, and so you probably naturally don't get along well with that person. But if you find that you're strong in EQ and someone else who you really, really like is also strong in EQ, that's why you like that person, because you're both probably quite similar in the way you are, in terms of your talent. So, and your intelligences and how you've accessed them. Now, the big thing I want to leave with you today is we're not born with these things, and Richard Branson doesn't have it more than anybody else. Remember, his teacher actually in school said that he would be a school dropout. He was a school dropout, and she said that he would amount to nothing in life. Okay, and look at where he is today. So people have the ability to tap into these intelligences. It's not, that you're born with it and, oh, I'm so lucky I've got it and you don't. No. Get rid of that belief, because, we all have the ability to access and tap into our emotional intelligences, multiple intelligences. So now that you've got your little cause and effect, diagram, as well as your multiple intelligences, I want you to look at them in totality, when this video ends. Continue to contemplate and think about, what this means for you in your life, and you'll find that some kind of a map and a picture of your life will start to form, in your mind as you look at these things that you've written down. And at the same time, give us some comments like you did before. Comments, feedback, anything, right down in the box below. And, in our next session, what we're going to be doing is, the next video is about a case study. I'm going to share with you a case study, a real case study of a client I had. And, we went through a whole culture change. So that's from a decision maker's point of view, how we did a culture change, as well as an individual who gave up smoking. How did she do it? And what really occurred, as she got through her programming and all of the things that I want to talk to you about in video 3. So thanks for joining us today. It's been great having you again. Tell your friends, share this video, because these are things that will help people move forward and be more productive in their lives, and realize that there are options and possibilities available to us. I'm Sylvia Fernandez, signing off for video 2. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thanks very much.